Yo, what's up everyone? Today we're diving into the wild, drama-filled world of the 2026 Oscars, but not by giving you a dry awards recap. I'm here to unpack the night like a fan who also happens to be a critic, with hot takes, bold predictions, and a few behind-the-scenes questions that actually matter for the industry. So buckle up, because we're turning the ceremony into a story you can actually talk about tomorrow. I'll start with the big idea. This year feels less like a traditional Oscars and more like a cultural crossroad. On one hand, the Academy is leaning into prestige projects, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners, projects that feel like they're staking a claim on memory, artistry, and director-driven vision. On the other hand, you have the spectacle side of the night, the star power, the musical numbers, the surprise wins, that makes the show feel like a global event rather than a niche film geek fest. What this really suggests is a balancing act between honoring craft and delivering a night that captivates a worldwide audience. Personally, I think that tension is the engine of the ceremony this year. Let me break down the core threads that stand out to me, with my own take on why they matter and what they might signal for the industry. First big thread, the surge of high-concept prestige versus ensemble storytelling. On the nominations slate, you've got directors and casts anchored in big, ambitious visions, Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, Josh Safdie's Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, while acting categories spotlight a mix of established names and bold newcomers. What makes this interesting is how it tests the idea of what the Oscars reward. Is it the singular auteur's masterwork, or the orchestra of performances that hold a sprawling movie together? In my opinion, this year leans toward valuing both, the film as a crafted universe and the actors who hold it together through thick and thin. If you take a step back and think about it, the Academy is signaling, we want the artful, but we also want the people driving those worlds to feel indispensable. This balance matters because it affects which films get funded, how studios market them, and where future opportunities will land for performances that aren't the usual marquee names. Second thread, a new award category and casting's elevated role. The ceremony is introducing casting as with Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners in the running. What this matters for is the ecosystem of filmmaking. The way a movie's success is increasingly a symphony of departments, not just the director's vision. From my perspective, this elevates casting as a strategic craft, not just a feel-good accessory. People often underestimate how much casting can transform a script's resonance, especially in genre blending or period pieces. This shift could steer writers and producers to think more deliberately about casting early in development, which may change the kinds of projects greenlit in the next few years. A detail I find fascinating is how this could tilt nominations toward performances with standout chemistry or transformative character work, even if the film itself isn't a traditional crowd-pleaser. Third thread, the music category and the competitive field around original song. Diane Warren is back in the mix, up against a juggernaut with the K-pop Demon Hunters and a slate that suggests wide stylistic reach. What makes this really interesting is how songs become cultural moments beyond cinema. They're TikTok-ready, radio-friendly, and sometimes define a film's emotional memory. In my opinion, this is a reminder that the Oscars aren't just about what's on screen. They're about what the audience carries away in their ears and hearts. If you look at the bigger trend, it's clear. Film music is a bridge between cinema and popular culture, and the Academy's recognition here can propel artists across media into new opportunities, and that ripple effect matters for composers and performers alike. Now, let's talk about the hosting and the night's pacing. With Conan O'Brien at the helm, the show is forced to walk a tightrope, keep the jokes sharp enough for a global audience, but avoid becoming a relic of late-night era humor. What this raises is a deeper question. Can a traditional telecast survive the streaming era by leaning into personality and premium spectacle, or does it need a more modular, audience-aware approach that values viewer choice and on-demand access? From where I stand, the best approach is a hybrid, moments of surprise and warmth, plus clearly structured, bite-sized segments that people can chunk for social clips. The goal should be to maximize watch time and shareability without losing the ceremony's sense of occasion. Deeper insight. the nominees map a broader trend in storytelling. The overlap between top director contenders and actors who could spark surprising wins hints at a year where performance warmth and directorial audacity collide. A lot of people don't realize how much the nomination slate shapes audience perception and even future talent pipelines. A strong ensemble in a daring film can spark new careers, while a bold director's once-in-a-career project can redefine what kind of stories studios think they can publish. If you zoom out, this is less about a single night and more about a cinematic ecosystem recalibrating around risk, collaboration, and cross-media reach. Closing thought, whatever happens on the Dolby stage, the real story is how this night mirrors where cinema is headed. Are we leaning into audacious, character-rich worlds or toward glossy, high-concept spectacles? Maybe the truth sits somewhere in between, a sign that the audience wants both. My question to you is, which trend do you feel most excited about, expanded casting as a strategic craft, or the rise of music and performance as indispensable cinematic engines? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's map where this Oscar season fits into the larger arc of film culture. If you found this exploration stimulating, consider subscribing for more breakdowns where I connect award season moments to bigger shifts in film, culture, and storytelling. And tell me, what film surprised you the most this year, and why do you think it earned its place among these nominees?